everyone. Sunday evening is round table evening. Yes. So we're doing a Sunday. I've had a nap. I've had a coffee, so I'm raring to go. So yeah, I'm MasakoX, and this is the What If Roundtable live stream, the place where you can get your what ifs answered by myself and these fine folks. We've got Sophie B.
Hi.
And we of course got Haverock.
Hello, I'm one of the fine folks.
Yes, we got the full set tonight. And for those of you who don't know what the roundtable is, first of all, welcome. And of course we have the stream boss Red Dragon Force 2 aiding us in our moderation. So if you are in a territory where you cannot do super chats because YouTube has not made them fully available yet, you can just run them by Red Dragon. He can take care of you. And very, very gracious in his support as well. And also, in relation to that, you can leave a super chat. It really does help support the channel in this time where it's very, very tumultuous, as it were. And it means that we can carry on being total nerds. And as the descriptions say, because I'm going to do the thing now of changing the text every week, it's easy on the Sunday What If. Because Sunday What Ifs are quite rare on the channel, because I don't know why. Sunday metrics, I don't know. Anyway, has anybody seen all of the new merch that has gone on Teespring today? So we have.
Oh yeah, like the pillows.
You can now be safe with the merch.
Yeah.
Safe and comfortable.
You can now, you can be comfortable, and you can now have ranch protect you from the virus. So.
Yes, all I need to do is just strap a pillow to my face, and I'm absolutely fine. No, seriously,
Yeah.
don't do that, by the way.
Yeah, don't do that. Don't do that. That's bad advice.
I am
That's
adult. I am an adult. No pun intended. No deep cut intended, actually. But yeah, either way, you got muffin button pillows. Something I pitched to the guys a few years ago, never got taken up. So I'm like, you know what? I'm just gonna do it. Pick your flavor. And then of course the face masks. One with a really cute Chibi Ranch and R&R logo pattern, and one with a bit more kind of like artsy Vector 80s thing for when you're wanting to be minimum weeb on that day. So you got a choice.
Minimum weeb.
Yes, no, sometimes you don't want to necessarily have
15% maybe, like 15%.
You have to be like, you have to be there. Like, you have to have like that, you have to be in the know. But anyway, let's get things rolling along with Viper Phoenix. What if Gohan never learned to control his rage and Babidi took advantage of this? Very commonly asked question, and something we actually sort of alluded to in What If Nappa Turned Good with Majin Gohan. Although, albeit some of those things were inherent to that what if specifically, but there is still that thing there of having that kind of like flawed kind of state, which did kind of make Gohan prone to that. So, if he never learned to control his rage, he could easily be taken into that because of the disruptive kind of emotional state. So even though Gohan is a good boy, Babidi could see right through that and make the most of the Saiyan hybrid, rage boost confusion.
And you could also make an argument, if he couldn't control his rage, would he be able, would we be able to get to that point of the story? Let's assume that we did. So that's also something that, that's worth taking into consideration. That
yes, of course.
Gohan learning how to control his power and his rage is what even allowed us to have Buu Saga.
Well, if you think about it, maybe he was able to exercise some degree of control when it was just, him, and he wasn't yet an adolescent teenager, because something that I think a lot of people forget, especially like in the West, because of the changes that they made to like ages and stuff like that, is that during all of the sagas prior to Buu, Gohan wasn't even a teenager yet. He hadn't even hit puberty, guys. So it wouldn't be too hard to say that Saiyan puberty is a bit more aggressive than human puberty, and maybe he does undergo some rage problems when that pops up. And considering the fact that he's in the middle of falling in love with Videl gets injured by Spopovich, like. It could be very possible that like the desire to like seek bloody vengeance on Babidi and his ilk, might lead him to having some darker blemishes on his soul that Babidi can exploit.
Oh, absolutely. There's tons of potential there. Maybe we
Yeah.
should do that in a lightning round. Something.
Yep.
Yeah.
Because, you know, it could be a discussion video. It could be, but we've kind of talked about Gohan's development a lot.
Yeah.
So even if it's just like a lightning round, it might be worth talking about. So we'll note that down. And also from Viper, because Viper's gotten in quite a lot of these. So goes, hey Masako, got another couple of what ifs, so sorry in advance. What if humans were the descendants of tuffles that left their homeworld? It would explain why much of Earth's undeveloped. There's animals, etc. So yeah, basically, humans, tuffles, potentially. Like, I think somebody actually did a good comment on our tuffles discussion from Thursday, that those people that Gohan, Krillin, and Bulma meet in space in that hidden balloon ship may have been tuffles, like in some kind of escape pod, or like some escape vessel, because they were advanced technomancers, so they could easily have come up with that kind of ship. Again, it's filler, but then again, tuffles were originally filler, so potentially it's a nice little headcanon theory, and it's certainly plausible in my opinion. So who's to say that maybe one of those vessels eventually, or just like long ago, like before then, could be. But it's something, something good. And Viper Phoenix is again on a roll here, absolutely. So that human debate, definitely plausible, but it would have to explain with the idea that supposedly tuffles were very like gnome height. So, you know, you would definitely catch a tuffle going, woo! Just something like that. Yeah, so, and then Viper does another one with, what if using the Dragon Balls had repercussions and you had to pay the price in some way for using them? Shadow Dragons, only done right. But I think over the years, like, we've kind of like had an idea about like, so basically, I would say that maybe like, some people have actually on the subreddit have made like the cool designs that the dragons, the shadow dragons, actually looked more like the wish that was actually done on them, not just like these weird designs and like, oh yes, I was from that wish that you did. I'm like, you look nothing like that. There's no callback. But I'm a scary shadow dragon rat thing.
The closest you kind of come in canon GT to having the appearance be dictated somewhat by the wish is what's that? The one girl of the shadow dragons is implied to be because Oolong's wish was for panties.
I think Oceanus Shenron. Is that right?
Yeah, Oceanus Shenron.
Yeah.
I think one of my like favorite concept, but it's pretty dark, is like, okay, to bring back a life, you need to take a life.
Oh, dead man's boots.
It's
only life can pay for life.
Yeah, it's exchange.
And again, we got to throw in that as perfect balance, as it should be.
Yeah.
But absolutely.
Perfectly balanced.
Yes, absolutely. And Viper Phoenix with a $50 donation. Wow, thank you very much again, buddy. What if during the Janemba movie and 21 met Cell in Hiffle and they fused to fight Janemba by dance or absorption? They could even go, my dear Janemba, you aren't dealing with the average bio-android anymore. And if Frieza saw this, he'd be like, son of a...
No,
you don't. I mean, honestly, this is something that Hav and I have actually discussed, that one day 21 will actually thanks for that. I'll just I'll up the volume on there, Paparacha. Thank you. It's something that we do want to do eventually, of having 21 and Cell meet and have like either a discussion or even just they pass and then they have some kind of just like debate or something. It'd be interesting. I think it's something that it'd be a shame if we didn't explore it at least once in some way, but we need to make it natural so it's not just like forced.
Yeah,
but
we have some ideas. Like we like to tease, tease you guys with. I almost say tase you, but
tease you with 21. Like to tase you.
But like what if 21? What if Cell turned good? Is I think the one particularly love DBZ.
Yeah. And I hope you guys liked the episode that we put out yesterday.
Yeah.
Definitely looking forward to that.
Although, yes, we know that technically there was clarification about, for Spirit Fusion that technically, you need to touch your opponent and hit him, but
we wrote that script like a month ago, literally when we found out about it. So we can easily clarify it because again, we have to go through these stories really quickly. So if we ever slowed it down, we would just have it that Boo, just absorbs, like he's taking the hits because hey, he's made out of rubber and like magical goo. So it doesn't matter to him. He's just taking it, and then he doesn't realize what he's actually done. So yeah, it could easily be explained.
Yeah.
All right.
He had an instant transmission and punch, so...
Yeah, exactly. Papapodo, what if instead of dumping Yamcha, Bulma stayed with him, but still added Vegeta into it, turning it into a certain kind of relationship, and all three people were really into it? Well,
I mean, I'm all for Bulma deciding that. I mean, to be quite fair, we very rarely get to see those sorts of relationships where it's female centric in anime outside of like the occasional gag or deconstruction or parody. And I mean, shoujo obviously gives a girl plenty of male suitors, but she usually only chooses one by the end. Yeah. So if Bulma decided to start a polyamorous relationship with both Yamcha and Vegeta, more power to her, in my opinion.
All right, no, absolutely. I mean, it's something that I can imagine, like, yes, total dominance over two beings. I am the alpha male in this relationship. No. In this, as you call, Mainage 03. It's menage a trois, Vegeta. Do not! I am the alpha! It's like, I shall call it the way I want it to.
Oh my gosh.
He'd have fun, and that's all that matters. Viper again, was the Supreme Kai poor? All other Kais, including Grand North, even Gowasu and Zamasu, had houses and cars. We never saw any buildings on Shin's Kai planet, though. Well, the thing was, though, is that they've kind of transcended past that, as in, like, there is no concept of money on the sacred world of the Kais. It's meant to be a paradise for the Kais of that world to play. Congratulations, you were born from the Kai tree. Here it is eternal chances just to roam around and frolic. Oh, responsibility for your universe? Oh, don't worry, you're just meant to, in air quotes, observe. And Shin took this job too literally. Again, we shall always be doing cute little digs at Shin, because that's our job at the MasakoX channel. Eventually, the whole thing with Garlic Jr. is going to get old, so we need to move on to something else.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, but yeah, good question though, Viper. It's something to think about. Like, they are.
What if Shin versus Garlic Jr.?
Oh.
All of the other Z fighters have been imprisoned in the dead zone, and Shin's the only one left.
Oh, I'm playing the sound.
Yeah.
Okay, joke. But alright. And Viper again going, what if during the Cell Saga, when Krillin hit Goku with that rock, Goku reverted back to his OG self, or made him remember his mission at least? Oh man. Maximum. Oh, that would be, if this were a D&D campaign, this would be like this would be a nat 1. It'd be like, oh, Krillin goes, I choose to throw a rock at Goku. What do you roll? I roll a 1. Oh no. And he failed the saving throw to like make it like it's just like, oh, it was a glancing blow. No, this would be like a nat 1. Oh dear. So basically Goku would completely forget who he was, he would remember the mission, he'd have this power, and he'd be in Super Saiyan at that time, so he would know this feeling immediately, and oof. Cell would be saying, ah yes, Son Goku, you have come to meet me at the Cell Games. Who's Son Goku? What? What do you got? Oh no. Oh yes. Yes, I am the savior of Earth, and I will... Cell will have to ironically be the person, I'm here to stop you from blowing up the planet. Yes. Just to get him to still fight him. It's just like, this is really weird. But I still get to fight Goku. So, but it's Kakarot in that way, so it'd be a bit strange. Like, they'd have to find some way of convincing Kakarot now to not blow up the planet. So...
Are you the Saiyan known as Kakarot? Yeah. Good. I'm a deck you in the schnoz.
I'm sorry, that's a new one. Alright, next one is up Papa Poto. Who would Femboxer be closer to, Krillin or Mark? I'd say, I don't know. Would you say, I'd still say, I'd probably say Mark, actually.
I say Mark, yeah.
Yeah.
I think Mark.
Mark's the more wholesome boy, because Krillin starts off as the jerk, because they see Boxer and Mark in our Capture Corps one as more of a jerk, whereas like, yeah. So yeah, but I'd say Mark Mark would be like, he'd be the one that would be chosen. Yeah. Okay.
I don't know if I agree with that, but what's the meme? Sounds fake, but okay.
Sounds kind of fake, but okay. No, that's fine. This is the whole point. It's like a different scenario, so it's perfectly fair. So it's 2-1, but
yeah,
I can still see the whole Krillin thing eventually winning out.
Yeah.
No, that's true. Viper Phoenix again, sending you an extra $5, Masako, as thank you for all that you folks do, and also an apology for spamming the super chat with all my what ifs. I apologize. Oh, well, thanks, Viper. And don't worry about it. Like, seriously, don't worry about it.
Yeah, don't worry about it. We appreciate it.
This is what we here. This is what we are here to do. This is my role in life, to talk about Dragon Ball and scenarios and stories. I'm perfectly okay with this. Brendan Little.
My purpose. You speak about Dragon Ball.
Maybe another anime, depending on YouTube, and you say, no, you don't. So says the algorithm.
Yeah.
Brendan Little, we can always use more antics. So what if Gohan found himself unable to attend a week-long mandatory conference and Goku had to attend as Gohan?
Oh my gosh! Like it's cliche, but like it's this type of cliche that I would love to see actually.
So they have to cut Goku's hair to make him look like Gohan, or else give him a wig and then dress him up like it. He has to pretend to be smart.
He accidentally says something that makes a huge impression because that's this silly trope that you have in those types of stories.
Oh my gosh!
Like he starts talking about aliens and stuff, and and actually confer, like people are actually interested,
Yeah, it's definitely possibilities though. Papa Poda, what if the Saiyans had a Bardock-led revolution that went just like the French Revolution, with the same thing happening to the Saiyan royals and nobles as the French ones? Also, what's Frieza's reaction? I think Frieza would just be like, I'm just going to stay here and pick up the pieces. Whoever's the strongest Saiyans, I will definitely take. Or, they could be just going on with this thing, and Frieza's just up there going like, no, neither of you win. Goodbye. Boom. This would be entertainment. Oh, this is the halftime show.
And the biggest cause of the French Revolution is after a while, people who will be beheading the royals were beheaded themselves by other people who were after that beheaded, and ended with everyone beheading each other and not being sure who started.
It could easily go that way, but Frieza would find it a little bit more fun.
Zarbon, bring me some popcorn.
This is going to be rather explosive.
Yeah.
And then,
Congratulations on your victory. The thing is, you still lose.
What? and then just like, kaboom. Podo's next. What if instead of strutting up to the arena, Light stayed home to use the Death Note on Cell like the genius TFS for Gotti is? What would happen? Well, Cell's heart would stop for a little bit. But I imagine the key inside of him would keep it going, and then it would just regenerate. Because Piccolo's cells, TLDR. It would be a major inconvenience, but if it was done at the right time, it was enough to, like, stun Cell for maybe a few seconds. Or even for a couple, just 10 seconds or something. It could be enough for, like, the guys to, like, get a bit of damage on him. So, it could be good for stalling for time. But, again, it's like, it's all very well and good, but Cell has regeneration. So that kind of defeats the purpose. Unless you can right away, if you knew exactly about the nucleus thing, you go, Cell's nucleus decides to randomly disintegrate for no reason. Boom. That's the way you got to do it. To make it happen.
Oh my gosh.
He just, like, dissolves from the inside out. And it's just like, Goku's like, I guess we won? Okay. I didn't know my punch could do... Okay, I'm like 90% sure my punches can't do that. And then Piccolo's just, we'll figure that out later.
Gohan looks at him like, now you're deciding to get scientific about it?
No, Gohan
Since when have you actually cared?
And Poda then says, I just wanted to say the whole thing you're doing with Zamasu bringing up the Deathcraft to the GOD is the same idea I had for my Xenoverse 2 Majin Go years ago. Oh yeah, we're just doing this for to actually show Rumshi that he's a complete jerk and what he's doing is wrong. Basically, as the Weird Al song goes, everything you know is wrong. Exactly. So we're just doing that to Rumshi. He deserves it. Brendan Little, just want to say superb job on the latest What If episode. I'm a bit sad we won't see 21 and Boo perform epic double teams, but it was brilliant to see the newest Yardrat technique to shake things up. Oh, absolutely. When that happened, Hav and I were just so pleased. It was like, oh, goodness. This actually gives Jimizu something.
Yeah.
You know, something
I'm just glad that Fit Boo got to do something.
Yeah, right? Yeah, and not just like, not just spamming heal. No, it's go, Boo cast heal!
Not just be a complete false advertisement for a next time on segment.
No, we were very sure to do. We were sure to make that happen. Definitely. Okay, let's see. Next one, Connor Moffat. What if Piccolo trained Pan and Vegeta? What if Piccolo trained Pan and Vegeta trained Goten and Trunks after the end of DBZ? I would say with Goten and Trunks, he probably would. Goten and Trunks, they would provide some clarity. Probably make them like knuckle down a little bit, be a little bit less brash. Vegeta would easily stomp it out of them. And Piccolo training Pan, oh, that would be so cool, because it's like, Gohan would just be right there saying, yo, go get her, Mr. Piccolo. And it's like father, like daughter. Gohan would be so proud. Like,
I still think he would be a little bit gentler with her than he was with Gohan.
Yeah, of course. It's like, like Gohan would be just like the helicopter parent and say, Piccolo, you don't need to be so rough with her. It's like, I know, Gohan, it's just, my training got results. It's like, okay, alright. It's like, he'd just be like, he'd only leave Pan in the wilderness for 3 months instead of 6.
See, I'm kind of thinking along similar lines, but more like Piccolo's training starts off. He's being too soft-handed with her, and then Pan's like, I want the same training you gave my dad, and he's like, Are you really sure you want that? and then it's like, yes, and he's like, okay. Grabs her by the head and throws her at a plateau.
and then just hears the same squish and cry. I'm getting the strongest feeling of deja vu right now. It's like, this is really strong.
But also kind of nostalgic.
I have mixed feelings about this. Brennan Little says, so that's your old form, Bug Boy. You look like a rejected draft from the Space Fly. At least I didn't need to look like a Ridley Scott knockoff to be taller. Shots fired! Woohoo!
Woohoo!
And then Podo responds, kill the bald one. And then everyone goes like, which one? Podo in with the assist after that. Booyah. Not well-timed Podo. Dark
The
Snake
one that isn't wearing a... What is that, a crown? We're going to call it a crown.
Dark Snake. Hey, Masako, if the R&R gang were gamers, what genres of games would they play? I can imagine Ranch being good at platformers. Fighting game for Trunks. Goten would love mini games. Because it's like, kind of like one of those like, mobile games that would be just like constantly like, he's like, oh, dang it, I got it wrong. I'm going to play it again. So like, keeps on like, or maybe like multiple choice games, like Detroit Become Human, Heavy Rain, because he's like, I just want Undertale. He play Undertale and do the benevolent path.
Because for a moment I thought you want to give Goten a bad taste in video games, but
no. Visual novels. He play visual novels and everybody and he say, you see, in this world I get to make everyone happy.
You know what's so funny is you've now said go the doing the benevolent path, and I'm imagining like Vegeta coming in one day and seeing like Goten and Trunks playing video games and being like, oh, you're choosing to be a little goody, huh? And then and like acting all tough about it, but the truth is that when he played the game, he reset it after accidentally murdering Toriel.
Yes.
It's like, no,
I can go back to your goat mother.
It's like, oh, Mom, no.
No, I only meant to weaken her so that she'd surrender.
Or she'd get stronger.
What if Toriel had Zenkai boost?
Oof. Gobi's next. What if the Tournament of Power was a surprise game of Monopoly? Oh.
Well, somebody like Universe 4 would game it and cheat it because there are winning strats. They would,
Oh no, seriously, and like the Zenos would be just the chance cards. Like by chance, you do something really good, or if not, if you don't please him, you get sent to jail. Do not pass go. Do not collect £200. And Tenshin Han ends up being the boot.
Yeah.
It's like, he.
Yeah.
Oh.
Either Universe 3 or Universe 4, would win because one would be cheating, other one would be like overthinking it.
Yeah. Dark Snake X. Hey Masako, I watched the latest What If Cell turned good and it got me thinking, what if instead of bronze he became platinum perfect cell or violet perfect cell? We basically, I think with Hav's decision on that, we kind of just went along the lines of like, this 21 is actually relatively modest. And it's just like, that's just the way it came. And everyone does like Silver Cell or... Yeah. And besides, the fact we made Bronze Cell, he's either got the nickname in the comments of Duracell, because he looks like a battery.
Yeah. Duracell! Oh my god, that's perfect!
I know
he's the copper top.
Yeah. Exactly. That's the thing. The fan, it has this enduring thing of just like, yo, welcome everyone, I am Duracell. It's like,
and also like
get out of here, you Energizer scrubs!
Yeah, we also wanted him to take a jab at Frieza with that decision.
Yeah, exactly.
Basically.
Yeah, exactly. And Heartless Fang, you know that we're all about the puns here. I love that the community came up with that. Oh. Podo's next. If your most frequent super chatters like me, Paparacha, Brendan, Red Dragon Force, and a few others are in Dragon Ball, which ones would be the heroes or the villains? Red Dragon Force would be King Yemma. He'd be King Yemma. Because he's the one, he's doing all the paperwork and the admin in this stream. And, or Brendan, I think Paparacha, Craig Twitchell would be Dr. Giro because he does Dr. Giro for everything. Yeah. So, Craig would be the Dr. Giro.
Papa Podo would be a Vegeta-esque like anti-hero archetype, and since he's like on the same team as characters like Bakugo.
I was about to say this. The anti-hero of the stream.
Oh, absolutely. All right. Okay. I think we're gonna have our cutoff time in about 10 minutes. So if you guys want to do a super chat, and you got 10 minutes. All right. Okay. Poda then goes, "What if Masako is reincarnated as Saiyan Saga Gohan?" If I was able to keep my memories and stuff, I would just like, I keep myself like very measured, but also be like realizing that, you know, with books and stuff like that. And I would also try and make sure I don't get that pudding basin haircut going to Namek.
Oh gosh, yeah.
I just go,
You don't
Mom,
want the-
I was like reading up this book that people that have pudding basin haircuts become delinquents.
Oh no! I can't have my son becoming a delinquent.
That must be a British term for the haircut, because we call it a bowl cut or a mow or a Pete Rose.
Oh,
Here in the
no,
States.
because that's interesting. Because because I heard that in Project A-ko, and it was like an American dub or with American actresses, and they said pudding basin haircut, and it was like, huh.
Interesting. I don't think I've ever heard it referred to as a pudding basin haircut. It's always been a bowl cut.
Oh, okay, all right.
Some of us call it a bat-shaped haircut.
Oh gosh.
Alright, Gobi, what if there was a Saturn Valley on Palzu, and what if Goku and his sons later on sometimes had a Mr. Saturn companion that joined his adventures?
Oh my gosh. I'm just picturing the way that it talks. Mr. Saturn's. Oh god. I can almost see Mr. Saturn's being like a believable species in the sillier OG days of Dragon Ball.
Oh, yeah.
Not so much Dragon Ball Z, but like, oh man.
Yeah.
Mr. Saturn.
Oh. Can you imagine Mr. And then eventually Mr. Satan has a Mr. Saturn as a friend?
Oh gosh.
Oh.
Mr. Satan and Mr. Saturn.
And
Mr. Satan and Mr. Satan.
Yeah.
name puns away, absolutely. And then Gobi has an attached one. What if Planet Namek also had a Saturn Valley? So basically on Namek, that's where they came from.
I'm picturing somebody like asking one of the Namekian elders, like, well, what's over on the other side of that cliff? And then the Namekian elder does that face that people make when they ask about Excalibur from Soul Eater, and he's just like, we don't go to that side of the mountain.
That part of the planet is forbidden to the likes of you! I tried to eat them and them, but they were too slippery for my fingers. I rather much focus on the albinos. They were tasty. Evil! Yes.
Alright, Dark Snake. Hey, Muska, have there ever been an embarrassing moment for Ranch, like her father talking about her or moment with Trunks and Goten? Oh, Raditz talking about her? Absolutely. Oh, because Raditz is the embodiment of the embarrassing father. So, of course. Like, there is, like, I can't remember specific moments, but I can imagine, like, oh, if there'd be moments when she goes through the teenage phase, like, Raditz will just be still, like, there will be that moment where that moment of him being the endearing, embarrassing father just gets irritating, and he's like, I don't know my own daughter anymore. She used to love... She goes through a phase where she hates puns. It's like, I don't even know my own daughter anymore. Raditz has a crisis of confidence.
Are we certain she hasn't been replaced with some kind of alien pod person?
Did Vegeta put her up to this? Because this is something that Vegeta would do. I know that he'd do this sort of thing. He was able to corrupt my daughter through his son. I knew that Trunks was no good.
Oh, God.
Oh, yeah, of course. Oh, there would certainly be, like... Oh, and there will be said...
Oh, hey, Mr. Raditz, where's Ranch?
Oh, Ranch? Oh, Ranch? She's dressing.
Oh.
I'm waiting to be able to put that in. Yeah, go. Okay, let's move on.
Me in my soul.
But Soulfan Gaming comes in with a $50 donation. Wow, thank you, Soulfan. I got 3 what ifs. What if Goku learned Force Spirit Vision? I would play the sound for the story because that would be basically... Yeah. He wouldn't use it. He would not use... Yeah. He'd only use it against villains who were basically not playing by the rules. This would be basically a leveler. He'd be going, hey, I don't think you're playing by the rules. And then punch, 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 punch. And he would just say, right, okay, let's go. So, all that kind of stuff. So, it would be... and also, you know, if Goku learnt this, this could be used against Superman. Because Superman gets his power from the sun. You know, generating the energy. It's absorption. So basically, if Goku got the punches, then basically that could be used to weaken Superman. To be able to negate the solar energy. This is a game changer. Hey, I want a round 3 of Death Battle and I want Goku to win.
You are so.
I'm clutching at straws.
Salty.
I'm clutching at straws here. All right, okay. He's got some more. What if Saiyan tails always grew back? You'd have to have a regular way of actually getting them removed, and I'm sure that Bulma would come up with a technique which would be like, eventually, really, would be quite painless. Like, you'd be like going out to the dentist or something like that for a checkup. Oh, Goku, I see you've grown your tail back. Here we go. Snip, snip. Or you'd make sure you just carry a pair of glasses in case you get caught short, as it were. And then what if Goku and Gohan mastered the award form? Award form? Award form. That's
Award?
I don't know what that means. Or maybe wrathful form or something. If they were able to master things, then they'd be able to tap in a brand new power, and the stakes would be reduced even more. So, I think that's the best thing I can say. But thank you, Soul Fan, all the same. Really appreciated. Gobi. What if Goku had a canine companion that also acted like a sort of nanny towards him? Oh, basically we're going for Peter Pan. Basically just like, Goku does something really impulsive, but the dog is always there, looks and then just shakes its head, like... Just like, and then it's like, and then Goku just takes it on board. If the dog nods or shakes its head and goes like,
Yeah, I probably shouldn't do that.
Is this an actual animal companion, regular dog, or is this like an
regular dog?
anthropomorphic
I'd say
dog
like
person
a bee.
nanny?
I'd say like a bee. It's a bee, not King Furry, which is really weird. But then with the whole Beastmen craze, that kind of makes it makes more sense, I would say. Gobi then again says, "What if lavender was repulsive to Saiyans like it is to some real life monkeys? The plant, not the character."
Interesting.
So basically, like lavender. Goku would hate it around here because I live nearby some famous lavender fields, and we grow some lavender here at my house. So it would not be a very hospitable place, but it'd be an interesting thing that a freezer, I think, would use to absolutely no end. He'd be just like, he would douse himself in lavender cologne, and then every time Goku would get nearby, it'd be enough to like distract him and say, "Oh, sorry, are you off your game, monkey? I'm sorry, I just used this brand new cologne. I'm pretty sure it's not going to affect the battle." Not. Frieza would use that to no end. He would just use that. He would have exploited that, realizing there was a weakness to Saiyans. Totally. Papa Podo, what if Poir was an anthropomorphic cat? We get the super thing with Roshi.
No.
Ah! I'm playing the Bardock sound like.
Look. If Poir was an anthropomorphic cat girl, and Poir cared for Yamcha as much as an anthropomorphic cat girl as his best friend does in the show, they would probably have started dating already. I mean, even Toriyama makes jokes about Yamcha dating Poir if Poir was actually a girl.
Yeah, and then eventually we just have the whole TikTok meme of that. So just like, random cat nonsense subtitles. That whole thing.
Oh no.
Oh. Gobi, what if Saiyans have manic syndrome? Who's to say that they wouldn't already? Because they have that manic obsession with fighting. But I would say they'd just be even more obsessive than they were already. I would say. Oh, by the way, guys, the super chats are now closed. Thank you very much for your contributions. We're going to try and rattle through these as quickly as we can because we do have a lot of them. We're not even like a quarter of the way through, and we're 40 minutes in. So we're going to go double speed. So if you want to do a super chat, well, it depends on what time we have left, and also, it's also to do with and then it's also just if you want to contribute in general. So, yeah, okay. Let's carry on. Jerry, what if Masako was in DBZ? I would do a case of reincarnated as Yamcha and basically use my knowledge to no end to basically get what I want. And I'm pretty sure anyone would do that. Anyone would do that.
I mean, that's what happens when you're in a predetermined isekai, right? Like, that's rule number one.
Like, if I got to, as you guys may know, with the Spopovich and Videl thing, I would just get in and then grab Spopovich's fist, do the slow finger wag. Not today. Punch!
And
Saitama punch!
But see, Masako, if you do that, you wind up significantly altering the events of the tournament because both you and Videl wind up disqualified.
I would not care. I would just no. It would be one of those things that the whole Naruto. That's like, it's either that or you hear the boss music. You know, it'd be just like that moment. Absolutely. All right, Gobi. What if Super Saiyan transformation or Ultimate Evolution had given Gohan intuitive aptitude? What if the obsession, well, like with the obsessive drawbacks like in Heroes? So basically, like, oh, it just made him ability to basically become a fast learner at everything. I think he would use that to try and eventually, I think he would use it to learn some techniques from his father, and then also he would go into the ultimate form to read books. Because basically, he just reads, scan. He would use that to read books and prepare for conferences, cram sessions. Basically for that, in his spare time. But on the battlefield, he would use that to quickly catch up. Quickly catch up if he was getting behind. Like, say for example, a conference went for 2 weeks instead of 1. Gobi then again. What if the Super Saiyan transformation were mostly connected to different emotional states? Super Saiyan 1 and 2 is rage and rancor, Super Saiyan 3 is pleasure, and Super Saiyan 4 is sorrow or pride. Well, they're all about the power. So I think basically Super Saiyan 4 is just like they'd have to play emo music all the time. Or basically just be really proudful. It would be you'd have to have some kind of music to hand to be able to kind of stir up those emotions on the fly. Unless you basically just like, it's literally Goku going, think happy thoughts, ah! I'm Super Saiyan 3 Goku now. I'm really happy.
Super Saiyan 3's personality changes as far as we witness it, with the few characters that ever do it in the show, totally doesn't fit with the pleasure idea. But it's kind of hilarious to think about the reason that people don't do Super Saiyan 3s because they have to be just really, really super happy.
Oh, gee, but like they lose, they lose their way to express those emotions. So I'm so happy. Oh, gee, I have all that happiness.
Yeah, it would be a complete disconnect of what's everything is going on. It would definitely be. But Gobi, in seriousness, to your question, it would probably just mean that either the Saiyans would have a better understanding of giving it up, of like actually being able to understand emotions better. So I think that would be the serious answer. Yeah, that's it. Gobi then again, what if there were Saiyans harboring Tuffles in their homes and businesses like Diary of a Young Girl or Hotel Rwanda? I'm pretty sure there were. I wouldn't be surprised. Because, with all these kind of things, there would be, like, very illicit relationships between species. And we do have Saiyan Tuffle hybrids. And they all have a Slavic accent for some reason, apparently, according to the Broly movie. But either way, totally believable. And I wouldn't imagine those Saiyan scientists were the result of illicit relationships. I could totally believe that, because they are both humanoid in design. It would be if the Tuffles were really short, I'd feel very bad for the Tuffle mother. I'd feel very, very bad for them. That's going to be a bad time. But again, Gobi, totally believable. And then Gobi's again, what if Gohan became an anti-villain? Trope-wise, maybe he'd be a well-intentioned extremist, necessarily evil, a Knight Templar, or a tragic villain. Sort of like that.
Oh, jeez. anti-villains usually tend to be a bit of a bit too extreme for a character like Gohan, I think, because like an anti-villain is I see a lot of anti-villains that are kind of like, when I've seen them portrayed in some media, it's almost like the one dude who thinks he's that like, oh, fascism's fine because I'm gonna be benevolent, and it's like, no. So I think it's Gohan especially. I just don't see as being able to be like an anti-villain character. I could see him maybe like losing it like mentally because of the whole like rage thing, etc., in the same kind of way that like maybe Broly does, or like let's say if the events of the Buu saga went a little bit like darker and Videl actually was killed by Spopovich and they didn't have a means to bring her back right away. I know, how dare. Fridging the girl for the sake of male development, it's not something I would personally do, but we see it all the time. So those are kind of the only instances where I could really see like Gohan doing the whole villain thing, and even then I don't really see him as being like the anti-villain, the villain fighting villain sort of situation, unless like he already became Emperor of the Universe, Yeah, Injustice, Superman, Cape Feather.
That's true. Papa Poto, what if Future Trunks was a Crusader? Deus Vult. Basically. If that... I can imagine him being... If this were the medieval times, I could totally imagine Trunks being a Crusader, basically, because he is lawful good. If he believed, like, his, zealous nature, and he believed his cause was just, he'd be basically said, it's like, vile fiend, thou shalt need to be stopped! I could totally believe that. He'd be very good in Dark Souls with the helmet and doing the dance from like Take on Me.
No!
He'd be praise the sun. He'd be a sun worshipper. Let's just say.
Brave Sertan.
Okay, sorry, Thunder. Alright, okay, I'm kidding. Thunder goes then. Yeah, daily reminder: Crusaders were not lawful good. But it's just like in terms of going the other way, chaotic and stuff like that. So sorry about that, Thunder. But either way.
But what about the Stardust Crusaders?
Trunks with long hair. He'd be basically. Oh man, he would fit in really nice with that. With the crop jacket, the long hair.
Long hair, Trunks, crop top, JoJo posing.
Either that, or he could do a really good cosplay of Diablo. I'm just saying, like, can say, I can imagine him going, Doppio, Watashi no kawaii Doppio. But then you'd have to, like, eventually hear him, Trunks doing an equivalent of, like, just so you have to, like, you try and, like, hear him, like, do that with a gruff voice. Probably not quite work. Gobi, what if part of the reason Goten slacks off during the years after Buu is because he had ADD, not ADHD? Probably a little bit of a distraction, but I can imagine Goten finding focus and making Gohan happy, and like having Gohan there would be really, really good in terms of actually making him concentrate on what he's supposed to do. So, yeah, maybe it's just that, and also, maybe the kind of thing is that Goten doesn't like to disappoint people. Chi-Chi is disappointed by him fighting, but Gohan gives him some focus. Poda, I think that was your last one for a while, the Future Trunks one. Gobi, on Goku being a dysarthric or mute, what if he communicated with gestures, eye contact, whistling, or humming like Quiet, and later on telepathy like in Z? Oh yeah, because eventually, like his, the whole thing of like Goku going, bored now, reading your mind. Like, he can read people's mind and go, that thing was a guy. So,
gosh.
Now basically, I could see him like reading minds and stuff like that, but I can imagine that being, can you imagine all of the extra subtlety that Dragon Ball would have? And Dragon Ball's not one for subtlety. This would be really good in the fact that Goku could convey loads of emotions. Soulfan, we did get your super chat, by the way. So we did get it, and we did just read them. So we did get.
Yeah, we did get your super chat. I don't think we read the most recent one just yet.
No, because we got
the $50 one because we've got so
No, we did
much
read
in
that
our
one.
backlog.
No, we did.
Oh,
read
we
that
did
one.
read that one. Okay, yeah. So the one with forced spirit fission. Yeah.
Yes.
We did read that one. You just got to remember something is that we got an inordinately huge number of super chats before we even started the stream today. So we have an enormous list to get through, guys. If you super chatted early on in the stream, your super chat's probably already been done. But if your super chat has only popped in, recently, we have a long way to go to get to it because we have a huge list.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Or maybe it was like, yeah. Okay, Red Dragon. He means his comments on one of his super chats. Yeah, we did mention that, and some of the retorts we might have missed those, but we'll keep a closer eye on next time. But yeah, we're not doing that intentionally. We do get a lot of messages. Govi on Gohan being born evil. What if from a few weeks ago? What if Goten was a silly sidekick with him being like Pinky in the brain? I can imagine that having that as a bit of levity, because having a truly evil character in Dragon Ball is a little bit much. You need to have some kind of relief to kind of like remember, like Dragon Ball is also an action comedy, so you do need to remember that. I mean, sometimes the original dub did sort of lose that aspect sometimes. So you need Goten in there to have some kind of like comic relief. So I could imagine.
I think the best thing if you wanted to do the anti-villain route. Now that I think about this, you would just make Gohan a parody, and I mean a parody of Light Yagami from Death Note.
Yeah, probably like that. Yeah, I would say that's a pretty decent equivalent. Okay. Chrome Bison, what if Monster Carrot's carrot morphs had the side effect of turning people into fusions of both his carrot victims and the carrot eater? Oh, so basically they turn into rabbit fusions and hybrids? Because obviously he gets the carrots and eats them, I think.
Huh.
Well, there'd be a bit of a side effect, and there'd be an alternative for people becoming beastmen. Basically, it's like, I almost got eaten by a rabbit. And it's like, that's a weird way to get the fusion. But I guess it would have the side effect, so really it would add some kind of consequence to it? Some kind of lasting legacy? A reminder of Monster Carrot's power and formidable force? So something along those lines? So I guess it'd just be a lasting impact of his notoriety.
Oh my gosh, I just realized something.
What?
Monster Carrot's whole like magic ability or whatever to turn people into carrots. That's the only other time I think we've seen somebody balefully polymorph somebody into a food item outside of the Boo saga.
Yes.
Like only the Majins have ever done it, and we know that the Majin characters get stronger by eating the food of the people that they that they turn into food. So I wonder if Monster Carrot could have become a lot stronger if he'd have just eaten more people.
Yeah, potentially.
Majin Carrot.
Yeah. Cameron Heaton now. What if Chi-Chi and Yamcha swap origins or places? So, gender and sex not changed, but basically Chi-Chi's the desert bandit and Yamcha is like, a prince. I don't know, actually. I mean, it would sort of actually mean... I think Chi-Chi as a desert bandit would be easier for Toriyama to write. Because Toriyama, doing the kind of aggressive, loudmouth, female character, that's what he is good at. Because, Launch was like that, mostly. Chi-Chi was meant to be the doe-eyed princess, but Toriyama's already admitted that he kind of didn't like writing it, or he couldn't write it well. So he reverted back to what he was typically able to do, like a Bulma, aggressive, assertive character. So I imagine that Chi-Chi would actually be a really well-written character from the start. Unless you had that whole... But then you'd also have the subversive thing, is that she's really tough, a bit of a badass, but is also afraid of guys. So, like... And boys or something like that, she'd like... see Goku as like the great leveler, and perhaps the start of her actually conquering her fear, because he's a boy, even though he's actually meant to be 12 or 13, like a teenage, but something like that. I think it could actually be really interesting. So potentially, Vulcan. What if Chi-Chi and Suno joined the Turtle School? Okay, well he's got like loads of these ones.
Oh
So-
gosh,
so-
Chi-Chi and Suno joining the Turtle School. So we wind up with a romantic love triangle of the two of them training
Yup.
harder and harder and harder to try to impress Goku, and meanwhile
Yep.
Goku doesn't notice at all. He's just
Yep.
like, "Wow, you guys are really into it today."
Yeah, exactly. I would imagine that would just be the case. What if Bardock trained Gohan in age 762? So when he's like a little kid, I imagine he'd probably be very, very. I think Bardock would be very, very impressed with the fact that Gohan at that was able to at least show potential of the power level of 710, like in short bursts and stuff. So he'd be able to. But I think he'd also want to like focus his kid, say, "Hey Kakarot, you got a really unfocused kid. I'm gonna like help you do it, and then I'm gonna bounce." Like he would stick around to help try and like concentrate, because to make him a useful fighter. But I think that would be it. Certainly a project. And what if Gohan would wear a red bandana like Bardock? He just had a propensity to wear red bandanas. It'd be a nice little callback. It's a bit overt. I like the whole fact that Raditz had an armband that was red. That was a really nice little subtle touch. I like that. And what if Gohan ended Spopovich? Well, if Gohan ended Spopovich, Yamu would have still absorbed his energy. He probably would have been, and Gohan would have been disqualified for intervening. Unless it was like he got to end Spopovich before, before Yamu sapped his energy. Probably he would be disqualified for life because he actually destroyed and killed somebody. So yeah, I don't think Gohan would care though.
Is there a way to imagine Gohan, because like that would be his dark side Anakin moment?
Yep. Yeah.
I killed all the Spopoviches, even the women and children.
Oh gosh.
Can you imagine Spopoviches being like a race, like a Tusken Raiders?
Yes.
What kind of? Who thinks of something like that?
I do. All the time. All the time. Sophie. That's a blessing and a
What if Spovovich was a race like Tusken Raiders?
I can imagine, like, Grandpa Gohan as Obi-Wan, doing a Spopovich, like, a great dragon roll,
The Spopoviches frighten easily, but they'll be back, and in greater numbers.
Alright, Vulcan's got another one. In the Hercule What If the Z-Warriors found Vampa before they go to Yardrat? So Broly meets Hercule with what if Teen Gohan would, okay, what if Teen Gohan would wear red bandanas in the Hercule What If? Not sure about that. And then Gobi continues it from his super chat. A Hercule movie edition? Oh, that's a bit muddled, but basically if the Z-Warriors go to Vampa, they'll find Broly. They'd still be able to kind of like find it. Goku would still have that whole attitude of seeing the potential and still negate the collar and chastise Paragus for like limiting potential. So it'd be like that. But yeah, I think that would be like along those lines. And I think it could be a decent Hercule movie, but we will get to that in the fullness of time with that story. We will get Hercule meeting Broly, so don't worry, that will happen. Hercule's not going to be going into obscurity in that story. Definitely not. And then Gobi continues Vulcan saying of what if Chi-Chi was a Saiyan. Again, if Chi-Chi were a Saiyan, it would mean Gohan would be full Saiyan. And I think that relationship, having that Saiyan blood, but also a human upbringing on Earth, would actually make that relationship be very harmonious between her and Goku. There'd be that understanding, and there'd be less pressure on Gohan becoming a scholar. So actually, it'd be a better family dynamic, in my opinion. Alright, and Gobi, on behalf of Onisile Benedict, what if Super Buu was the reiteration of Buu that became good? Yeah, because Super Buu is not entirely evil. Like, the whole thing with Super Buu is that he's basically like the inverted good Buu, Majin Buu. He's basically the good Buu. The good Buu is in charge of that combination. But then Evil Boo came out and then became the dominant force. So he was slightly more evil than good. So if the goodness inside Super Boo was able to kind of reassert its dominance, I think it could be really interesting. Just having that more aggressive tone and much more serious nature. Yeah, it would certainly make Boo less of a joke. I'll give it that. Gobi, on behalf of Ide Gaming, what if Goku was a Saiyan Elite? If he was born potentially as a Saiyan Elite, it would certainly make Dragon Ball go very, very quickly. Or his propensity to get stronger. Like, maybe he would still have a power level of 2, but if he was considered a Saiyan Elite at the start, it would just mean his potential and means to get stronger would be quicker. So, you know, I would say I would play the sound for the plot and the stakes. It would just be really, really, really down, in my opinion. Alejandro Gonzalez, what if Goku got into pro wrestling to make money? I think he would initially do it because Chi-Chi would pressure him into making money, and Chi-Chi would then think, hey, he's winning a lot of things, he could be really good. But then I think Goku would get bored of it because he's like, this isn't a challenge. This is like, I'm literally going in, throwing the guy out of the ring and collecting money. This is really boring. So I think Goku would just get bored and might just say, no, I don't want to do this anymore. It'd be a funny little mini arc. You know, and then it could be the arc that Chi-Chi then actually understands what Goku's strengths and weaknesses are, and that she shouldn't be that controlling of him and being that nagging of him to try and make money, or at least try and find a way which is actually a bit more interesting and useful of his talents, like with getting, you know, with farming vegetables and stuff like that, being able to quickly do it, you know, better use of his talents. Papa Archer, what if Marin was a fighter? I'd love for this to happen. Like 18 and Marin.
Yeah, I want it to happen. Like, seriously, 18 is the most, like, physically wise, you know, fighting wise, martial arts, all that stuff wise, as, you know, a former cyborg of Dr. Gero's, you know, she's got the highest power level among all of the wives of Dragon Ball Z. She's got the most fighting ability, you know. To see her and Krillin in their relationship training their daughter, you know, would be super, super cool. Like, this is, I think that's like the only marriage because of what Toriyama did to Vidal's character. Krillin and 18 becomes like the only marriage where where both parents are still fighters in some way, you know. And
it makes it the best and most harmonious relationship in that entire series.
Now the real question is the Infinite Energy Engine a biological addition to Android/Cyborg 18, and if so, does Marin inherit a version of the Infinite Energy Engine?
You see, one of the interesting things I think in the manga is that, and I think that's one of the better sort of retcons, I guess, in Super. I think it's in the manga that one of those poachers is able to sense energy, and like, we may think that it's from old Krill Dog, but he feels something unsettling about Maron. So I think they're hinting that Maron can
do.
Have I want it. I want it.
I think we all do. We all do, definitely. Kenshin491 says, what if Yamcha and Bulma had a kid before they broke up? Oh, Bulma, team of lawyers, she'd get full custody before Yamcha could even get in a courthouse. Like, oh, Bulma would be like, I have full custody of your kid. Yamcha would still be, but she would just use her savvy to make sure that was out of the way, done and dusted, to try and make sure it was not this rigmarole that would like go on for years and years and years. And I think Yamcha would be okay with it. He'd want to do his best and help provide and stuff like that. But, you know, I think he would just realize that, you know, I'm not going to go up against Bulma's lawyers. Let's just get this out the way. So, I think it could easily work. I think Bulma would be fair as well. Gobi, on behalf of Onisar Benedict, what if Broly was never exiled? Oh, okay, so basically if Broly was utilized the entire time. Well, unfortunately, the fact is though, Broly would have still been a kid. And his power level would have been interesting, but still relatively low, because I think his power level was actually 910.
See, he might have been a kid, but he might have still had a decently sized power level, and it could have still been possible to expand, because, as we know, in Dragon Ball Super Broly, they retconned Broly's birth date, so that he's now of an age with Vegeta instead of an age with Goku. So he would be around whatever age Vegeta was when the planet was destroyed by Frieza. There's a possibility that if he like entered rage mode and like flew up into the upper atmosphere, he could have stopped the death ball, punched it away even.
That would have been a sight to see. It mean that like
and it's like can you imagine Frieza just like looking down like excuse me.
Like,
what?
Excuse you?
Your entire race.
Exactly. It would certainly be a bit more of a challenge, sure. Paparacha, what if Marin was Kajob, but it's Bojack? It's just spelled backwards.
Oh gosh, a reincarnation.
Marin would have an appreciation for architecture, because Bojack does. And if they ever go to see a pirate movie, Marin would really get into it.
Should start talking like a pirate afterwards.
Yes.
Yarr!
Basically, she has a pirate fantasy. Pirate fantasy, appreciates architecture, and, basically loves jewelry. Basically, stealing the booty.
Yep.
Paparacha, what if Kami chose Ox as his replacement? Oh, man. That'd actually be a decent replacement. Because Ox King would be like...
Now I can look at my grandson Gohan forever.
He's like, I'll bow down, Earth, and be basking in your benevolent God.
I'd love that. He'd be this kind, benevolent, sweet man as the guardian of Earth. I want fan art of that. He'd be really good. I mean, if Kami had the Dragon Balls and could at least pass on the ability to maintain the Dragon Balls, like not die, but basically, I can imagine Kami still living on the lookout, but he would just then become a scholar and basically tend to books for the rest of his life. He'd basically retire. So, and then Ox would like be the guy in charge of like the guardianship. I think they'd be a good team, definitely. Paparacha, what if Raditz was sent to Earth with Goku, but wound up frozen in the Arctic before being found, still a kid, when he usually lands on Earth? So basically, he's stuck as a kid. He's frozen in ice. And then basically, he then finds it's been like 20 years or so, and like now Kakarot's older than him. I can imagine it'd be this weird thing of like trying to explain what he is, but I think Raditz would then, he wouldn't try and like beat up this guy, but I think with Kakarot, he would then, I think he would pretend, he couldn't live with the shame of like being his, now, I'm supposed to be your older brother, but I'm now smaller than you. So I imagine he'd come up with some backstory of like, oh, he's somebody else, because Raditz is still a cautious guy. So he would definitely like try and find some way of like self-preservation and keeping his identity secret until basically until the Frieza saga, when Raditz comes up and the Frieza goes, "Oh, Raditz, good to see that you are with your siblings." And then the identity would come out, and then he'd have to explain the whole thing, and then Goku would be completely understanding. He'd be like, "You need to keep that secret, buddy." And then basically there'd be this touching moment, very wholesome, I would say.
Real quick, Masako, from Soul Fan Gaming, they said that their correction for their super chat was that it was meant to read, "What if Goku and Gohan mastered the Ozaru form?"
Oh, okay, right. In that case, it'd be a temporary thing going up before Super Saiyan. It'd be a temporary thing. They would come up with the Power Ball adaptation on their own, and it'd be basically something along those lines. And I can imagine it'd be really funny hearing Kid Gohan with a very deep voice as a giant monkey.
It's like, Mr. Piccolo, good to see you here. I'm finding this really extremely unsettling, but wait a minute.
It would then Piccolo being a giant form, training in Ozaru with giant Piccolo.
Ooh,
That'd
yeah.
be a
See,
cool
that's a
visual.
battle I want to see. Piccolo never uses his giant form anymore because I guess it's supposed to be super painful.
Yeah,
but it's
yeah.
like picturing the battle between giant Piccolo and Ozaru Gohan. It's like, yes.
Yeah.
We are big boys now.
Paparasha, what if Cannon Cell turned good? You made it work with Frieza. Yeah. I feel like we could do a what if Cannon Cell turned good, but it would have to be some kind of genetic mutation that happens, like when he, like, regenerates from a nucleus. Like there is some kind of genetic anomaly that changes the distribution of all of the stuff inside of him. Like it means that the freezer inside of him, as well as like, gets toned down more and more. So basically, it makes Cell more benevolent.
Listen, the main problem with Cell is that he is designed to be to be endlessly egotistical, and in order for redemption for most of the villains, they need to start caring about someone else than themselves. And for me, it's very hard to see, Canon Cell looking like that. That's why, like, we hatched this idea. Literally hatched some time ago because it's very hard to defend the idea of Canon Cell being good without any workarounds.
Yeah, no, I'd say so. Caustic Swords, what if Raditz beat Goku and Piccolo and took Gohan off planet? This one feels like a go down darkest timeline rabbit hole. Yeah, it could do, but then of course at the same time they have Dragon Balls. They gather the Dragon Balls and teleport Gohan back to Earth. So, basically... but if it's beat Goku and Piccolo... they'd be in a bind there. So, basically, they'd have to have a way of wishing Goku and Piccolo back. But then they'd have to find some kind of way of, like, getting Gohan back in some way. But either way, if they did that, they'd have to wish Goku and Piccolo. Goku and Piccolo would end up going to King Kai's. They there would have to then bond and actually train together. They'd be very strong when they get back to Earth and stuff. I think Piccolo would be a bit more aware of the time. It's a bit more shrewd. And yeah, I definitely see Raditz trying to be a good uncle and then conditioning Gohan into evilness. So I can see that going. Alejandro, what if on Namek, Goku agreed to serve Frieza to save his friends because he thought he couldn't win? I can believe that this is something that Goku would know his strengths and potential. So I imagine this would be a trick, and like because he is strong, he can be useful to Frieza. But I imagine this would be a ploy. This would be a ploy for him to kind of play it down and get close to Frieza, find some way to be able to like manipulate him like in his own way, and then eventually get stronger and stronger. Like train with some of his people, get a couple of Zenkais, and then being able to overwhelm Frieza in some way. Holding back his power, especially since Frieza can't sense energy. He could easily do it and bamboozle a scouter.
It would be interesting. I think that the biggest way that Goku would probably get around it is just that, like, well, I agreed to serve you. I didn't say how long I'd serve you for.
Technicalities. That's true. That is very true. Manifesto. Hey Masako, can't join the live stream this time. What is your mailbag email again so I can share you my ideas on Cell's 3 new forms? Thank you. Well, it's Masako Mailbag and it's a Gmail address, so you know. Red Dragon Force 2 on behalf of Anime Mafia. What if Paragus turned good? Well, if Paragus basically sort of turned good, he would actually try and find useful ways of actually being able to control his son instead of relying on a collar. Actually finding some ways of being able to do this, intuitively. So, definitely, I think this is something that he could easily explore. Just something that, he actually would try and control Broly in a much more paternal and natural and loving way, instead of basically resorting to magic or technology, treating his son like a beast, I think. Or being more receptive to Chilai's protestations. Red Dragon Force, on behalf of Jay the Average Fanboy. What if Pilaf was a Yardratian descendant? Me, no training, but has the biology, just blue pigment from Earth's atmosphere. Okay. So basically, he, if he's a Yardratian descendant. Like, it'd be funny if he has this ability, basically, to be able to travel places really far and wide. But unfortunately, though, he's basically become so inept, he basically has no other potential for, like, getting stronger in terms of power, because he doesn't know the techniques. Because all these powers are learnt, the Yardratians. They don't have a natural ability, like, innate. So unfortunately, you know, it doesn't really work that way. But it'd be a cute little bit of story lore, in terms of that sense. Red Dragon. What if Jiro stole Gohan on his way home from Piccolo's training? Could potentially use him to defend Earth from the Saiyans on top of his own agenda. Oh, so what if Gohan... Oh, instead of Goku? Oh, okay. Well, I can imagine if Gohan was, like, used and then taken away of all his energy and stuff, I can imagine Goku going on the warpath. Like, he doesn't know Jiro directly, but he would be able to sense Gohan's energy. There'd be a confrontation, and they would be fighting against androids which are half-baked. It could be a nice little mini-arc, like the Gohan retrieval arc.
Oh gosh, the Gohan retrieval arc. I'm having flashbacks.
Yeah, something along those lines. And Paparazzi actually has the same one, of what if Jiro kidnapped and converted Gohan and Piccolo into cyborgs during the Saiyan saga? Well, I would have to play the sound, unfortunately. Because Piccolo's regeneration would be able to be exploited through DNA. So basically, Jiro would have a much greater sample of DNA and something to, you know, sort of come up with some kind of organic regeneration through future androids. So you could expect 17 and 18 having an example of it in the future. Definitely.
You wind up with androids / cyborgs that are a lot more like the Nomu in MHA.
Yeah, exactly. WWE 1222. What if Goku didn't change to his kid form in the first episode of GT? Well, he'd have all the power to hand all the time, and there'd be no Black Star Dragon Balls. There'd be no GT, unless, you know, Pilaf came up with some other wish or something like that. Like, came up with some wish that debilitated Goku in some way. Like, oh, I wish you lost all your power or something like that.
I wish you fall into eternal sleep. That's...
Yeah, or, like, yeah, I wish you were asleep. Or, yeah, I wish you just, you know, go away or something like that. Or he'd fall into a state of eternal sleep, we'd get Goten instead, and then the story would be better. But we wouldn't get Super Saiyan 4 in the traditional sense. Guardian Tree. What if the Ninja Turtle cast was an early Dragon Ball and Goku met them on his first adventure? Replace Red Ribbon Army with the Foot Clan and Shredder. I'd be down for that, and Michelangelo and Goku would be best buddies. Because of food. It'd be fun.
Oh my god.
It would be fun. I would love to see Goku storm the Technodrome instead of Muscle Tower. So it's, you know, Goku versus Krang. That would be fun. And Simply Guy Man asks, what if Paragus succeeded in saving Broly from Vampa? What would he have done? Well, he did save Broly. He got them to Vampa. In saving Broly from Vampa.
Like, if they managed to get out.
Oh, if they managed to actually repair the ship.
I believe they would lay low, and after King Vegeta was dead, I think he would be like... Maybe he would be like plotting revenge against... Yeah,
but then Vegeta.
I kind of figure that was Paragus's plan, right? Because I mean, shoot, he even told what was his name, Beats. he even told Beats like if you want us to drop you off so that you can get back to Planet Vegeta or whatever, fine. But we're going to be taking this ship into a sector that isn't controlled by Frieza. So I could imagine him like. They go and they drop Beats off at some space gas station.
Yeah.
And then they head into an uncontrolled sector, and then Paragus trains Broly while they bide their time. Now, the real question is, does Broly still get as strong as he was without all of that bug juice to drink?
True. It all depends, really. Yeah, that's very true. Bahati Burgess? What if Gohan was sent back to the past before Frieza destroyed Planet Vegeta? So like Gohan, like, let's say, like, adult Gohan or something like that. I can imagine Gohan using his power to be able to, like, strong-arm the Saiyans. Like, he'd see his grandfather being like ridiculed by the Saiyans, and then Gohan would just come in and like, you know, create a scene and basically like say, "You don't understand." Like,
better idea, Maz.
Yeah.
Better idea.
Go on.
Because we all know that Gohan is a sweet pure boy, right? And he's also a scholar, a scientist. He would be terrified of what his actions on the timeline could result in as far as a butterfly effect goes. If he fails to get Goku to still be sent to Earth, who knows what that means for his existence in the timeline, for example, etc., etc. But the only reason Goku's sent to Earth is because Frieza was going to destroy the planet and stuff. I see Gohan as struggling to kind of figure out a way of getting like more Saiyan evacuees off the planet, like depending upon like their personality, whether or not they were like good guys or bad guys, and subtly trying to do stuff until his hand is forced. Also, romantic subplot between him and Fasha.
Oh boy.
Oh wow.
she's kind of like a Saiyan Videl. So.
Pabaracha, what if you were put in charge of an official Dragon Ball What If series? It'd be the Raditz story. It'd either be the Raditz story, or it'd be a Frieza Turned Good story. Because I'm really all down about that. And I've actually been starting to rewatch the classic Torchwood. And I can imagine, like, Frieza being like Captain Jack in that sense in the future, once he's, like, all settled down. You know, being slightly less flirtatious than Captain Jack. But just that dynamic that crew has. I can imagine that Kit and Chilai would be along those lines, as well as a bit of Outlaw Star. You know, I love that. I'm looking forward to, once the story's all done, coming off with like an extra like side story after that, so you just get to see them actually on their adventures. That'd be really cool. Red Dragon Force 2 on behalf of Pancake plays, what if Gohan was raised by fortune teller Baba? I imagine that Gohan would learn the arts of the crystal ball. You know, mysticism, all that stuff. He would definitely have some connection to Roshi, because Baba is, you know, Roshi's sister. So
more magic users in Dragon Ball.
More magic users. Gohan would learn magic. Simple as. Jesse Goff.
You're a wizard, Gohan.
I'm a what?
Jesse Goff. On any plans for Ginyu Force and What If versus? Will they survive the Namek saga? Obviously, you have the What If they turned good, but what about others? I'd probably like, maybe like if Jace escaped or something like that. I'd like to have one where you actually get to explore more of Jace's characters. So
we have one, and like, as you guys probably don't remember, in What If Goku Beat Roshi, we still have Jace in Ginyu's body that's alive.
Yeah.
Wink.
Okay, I forgot about that. But yeah, we'll see more of that in the fullness of time. Soulfan Gaming, what if Goku learned Force Spirit Fusion? I think we did carry this. So we did do that. But I think in that sense, I think Goku would use that power to level the playing field. Basically, if he thought someone was getting too strong and was using powers unfairly, and they had absorbed powers and stuff, he would use it to level the field because he likes a fair fight. So I think that's how it would work. Joe the Medical, DBZ and What Ifs are canon because multiverse theory. I mean, yeah. I mean, it's been proven now multiverse theory is the thing in Dragon Ball. So it's very much the case. So, Joe, you're correct, really. Vandalia, not sure if this is already answered, but what if Chi-Chi had trained with Goku and Krillin on Master Roshi's Island back in the original Dragon Ball? I could imagine there'd be oh, Teehee, I can't be a fighter, I'm just a little girl. But then, basically, she then surprises herself with her aptitude. Like, basically, like, Goku goes to attack her, like, in a sparring match, and she's actually able to defend herself without realizing it. Actually realizing that she is actually stronger than she thinks she is. Because, come on, if Ox King has a power level of 900, some of that's got to carry through to Chi-Chi. The propensity to at least defend. I mean, it's not able to be on tap immediately, but it can be sourced. And Roshi knows about Ox, so basically he'd know that Chi-Chi has potential. So he would take Chi-Chi on board and be like... And no, he wouldn't be lecherous with Chi-Chi because she's a little girl. And Roshi has shown that he does not think that way with children. He does not.
Yeah, like Roshi while Roshi may have perved on Bulma, part of the reason why is because Bulma is a fully developed and attractive woman who's hit that point in puberty where she's got like the full she's full bodied and figured and stuff like that, and so that's why Roshi's like lecherous with her. But Chi-Chi's still small, even though she's got like the freaking stupid metal bikini uniform design in OG Dragon Ball. Like, she still doesn't really have like the curves or the adult body yet, so I doubt Roshi would be perving on her.
And I don't think he ever would. I think he'd be one of the few examples where he wouldn't.
Yeah, they would probably. I think if Roshi was to like to train these girls from their youth through their puberty, I don't think he would really flirt like perv or flirt with them, because he would perceive. Roshi has enough sense not to do that with like his direct students, especially when they're that young. And then as for Bulma, like, you got to remember that OG Bulma was it was that classic Toriyama perv humor, because a lot of people forget that Toriyama had a lot of that perv humor back in the day, considering what he'd written other than Dragon Ball. Bulma was kind of the butt monkey of a lot of those jokes, which is part of the reason why Roshi pervs on her so badly, is that it was one of Toriyama's only like forms of immediate comic relief he could think of during the time when they were like on the island or doing something training wise or something like that. So Bulma gets that treatment a lot more than I think other characters would, except for maybe Launch, and that's because Launch was specifically designed to be like, hey, let's give Roshi somebody to perv on other than Bulma.
Yeah. No, I think we could definitely we'll make a note of this. We'll make a note of this for the future. Papa Meta. Hey guys, hope you're all having a great Sunday afternoon, but I gotta say, Masako, no corn muffin pillow? I'd love me a corn muffin about now. Well, if they do sell, there's chances to put multiple flavors on. So we've got chocolate chip, we've got blueberry, and we've got white chocolate and raspberry. So we've got 3.
But what about the real muffin flavor? Maple bacon.
That'll be a limited edition run, definitely. We'll work on that. We'll work on that in the next run. Minion of the East, what if Krillin trained as a Crane student and channeled his anger against the bullies, nearly ending them and having a different rivalry with Goku? Good question. So basically, maybe, say for example, little jerk Krillin goes to train with Roshi, can't stand Goku, and basically goes, I'm going to go to the other school, and he basically becomes like, he trains with Ten Shinhan. And they have this thing, and basically Krillin goes, like, basically Master Shen thinks, oh good, you got these people, go and show them who's boss. He would encourage Krillin to go and like wrong the evildoers that questioned his strength. But I imagine he would have a crisis of confidence. He'd go in and then he's about to end them, but he does it with one. He basically goes, what have I done? And then Goku finds out that he did that, and then basically, I can't be friends with somebody
Okay.
Yeah, so I can imagine like
real quick, Soulfan says to pass the message on to you. Their what ifs were combined into the $50 super chat that they did. Well, so yeah, they say that you can skip theirs.
Okay, all right. Thanks, Soulfan. Okay. Frost the White Lion. What if the Dragon team of DBR&R was in the Dragon Ball Multiverse tournament? How would they react to different multiverses or friends or foes? I can imagine Raditz being very interested, being one of the very few Raditz examples in the whole multiverse, probably. Probably Ranch should be one of these examples of, like, launch representation. But I imagine they'd be interested in all of the different dimensions and stuff. But I can imagine that them just kind of getting on with the goods and stuff. But I imagine Raditz would have a good time.
There's a lot there to explore, so...
Yeah, I need to catch up on Multiverse to get a proper answer, but either way. Yeah, it's
I haven't read Multiverse in, like, a decade. It's surprisingly long-winded, and I'm surprised is it still, like, actively updating?
Yeah, because, like, with Majin Bulla, they're basically going, like, proper, like, leaving, like... Ugh, yeah. Okay. 28 days later, what if our present versions of Android 1718 were sent back to the History of Trunks timeline during Gohan's final fight? I can imagine they would actually take 1718 by the scruff of the neck and basically go, hey, no, bad androids. So basically, they'd be much stronger than the 1718 back then. And basically, Trunks and Gohan would be extremely confused and try and attack the present 1718. They'd say, look, buddy, there's no time to explain here, but we got your back. And then 18 was just like, don't worry your pretty little head, Gohan boy. We'll take care of this. And they just take out, the other 1718 and then basically say, hey, there's a bug guy here. You might want to take care of that. Because they don't want to stay here for too long, because if they were there, that cell could absorb them. And that perfect cell would be monstrously powerful. They would just go in, right the wrongs, get that Trunks to calm down, and then everything would be fine. So that they would do. They would right the wrongs. Oh, McPherson, this what if is for a friend, but what if the angels from Evangelion were in Dragon Ball Z and Super?
Oh boy. Well, I mean, we'd have those kaiju battles that we really, really want.
More
Finally,
kaiju battles? Okay, yes, please.
Yeah, I mean, and depending upon whether or not their immediate response, being our beam struggle techniques or our approach to just punch the thing really, really hard isn't quite working, I think that would be prime opportunity for Gohan to go to Bulma and say, Bulma, it's time. I need you to make me a mech.
More chances for the Sire Busters.
It's time for the great Saiyarobo.
Yes. Yes. Oh. Alright, Paparacha. What if more humans had rage boosts and they were the humans' answer to Zenkai? Oh, basically, it would be going like, Krillin limit break! We just have Krillin limit breaks. That's the thing. It would literally be limit breaks. You don't get Kaioken, okay, you get limit breaks. They'd be extremely limited, as is in the name, but they could do results. But it would have to be very carefully used. And temporary, there'd be a time limit as well. Primal Mythos, what if instead of having a civil war, the Saiyans and Tuffles formed an alliance, coexisting and leading a change in the universe against Frieza? I think the Tuffles would be aware of Frieza's influence, and they'd find that way if they did form a temporary truce, to basically tell the Saiyans, look, there is this guy who is the emperor of the entire galaxy. You guys are really strong, we are really smart. No offense. But, if we were able to combine our efforts, we could actually have a really formidable force. So basically, the Tuffles would have to have something that kept the Saiyans sweet. Maybe the Tuffles would have to, say, look, we are sorry for what we did to you, because it's one of our theories, as we will explain in next week's discussion, they had something to do with how the modern Saiyans are. But we won't say any more here. But if the Tuffles were able to actually apologize for all of the experimentations potentially they've done on the Saiyans and come up with something to keep them sweet and around and, true to the cause, give a proper challenge in the form of Frieza, they could actually be really, really strong in the long run. Yeah. Let's write that down. Well, I mean, let's write this down.
They fill each other's weaknesses very, very, very well.
Yes.
So, I think there's a Saiyan Tuffle alliance could probably, it's kind of a situation where the Saiyans shot themselves in the foot in the long run, so to speak, because by wiping out the Tuffles, they removed their one really good chance of maybe being able to fill in those weaknesses and take Frieza on directly.
Yep, I would agree with that. Yash Bagare, hey guys, two things. If Team MasakoX played cricket, what positions on the field would you all choose? Don't worry, I know cricket. I know cricket. It's okay. I have two famous cricketers in my family, so I know how to play. I think one of them actually almost played for England, so that was kind of cool.
Nice.
I imagine probably Sophie would be a good bowler. As in being able to strike down all of the theories that aren't, are malconcepted. Being able to just throw the ball, overthrow, basically slam that what if down into submission. I'd probably be in with be the wicket keeper, probably, because obviously you got to like be that kind of defensive thing, coming up with the counter arguments. And then Haverox, I think Haverox in there out on the outfield, everyone trying to go in for the 6, because Haverox's style is basically staying very, very quiet, and then suddenly out of nowhere coming up with the perfect zinger, gets a good response, and then goes back into the distance again. It gets results, and it's something very effective. That's my best guess.
Yeah. Sounds good.
Av, you there? Oh, he's gone to walk the doggo.
Yeah,
That's right.
he had to walk the doggo, so.
Oh, he'll be back shortly. Oh, sorry about that. I didn't see his message. How would you guys rewrite the Boo saga since you're, well, not the biggest fans of it? Much love from Canada. Well, we'd make it shorter for a start, have less transformations, because there's like 10. Try and add the...
There's a lot of transformations. There's a lot of points where you've got, like... You have a situation that's a little similar to the Cell Saga, but not quite as adequately done, where the villain changes a lot, because you first got a Bobbity and all of his underlings. You got this dude who's ostensibly supposed to be the evil counterpart to what are essentially the gods at that point in the timeline. Then all of a sudden you've got Majin Buu. Majin Buu's this childlike but super powerful being. Then all of a sudden you've got Evil Boo for an episode until he becomes Super Boo, and then Super Boo starts absorbing people in a way that's way more like character prominent than the way that Cell would drink people. Yeah. So you had a lot of changes there. Gotenks' personality is utterly just garbage. And Toriyama didn't have any faith in his ability to write Gohan as an interesting protagonist, which is why he shifted back to bringing Goku to be like sort of the main dude and focused on these other characters. I still think that Gohan should have remained the main character after the Cell Saga. The torch should have been fully passed on. If that required kind of playing with the genre a bit, for example, Dragon Ball / Dragon Ball Z, it's always been very shonen adventure, and then it became more of like a shonen martial arts thing. Instead, why not play with that concept? You've got Gohan, he's going into a high school, he's trying his darndest to be fairly normal, but he's also got this vigilante gig on the side. Why not play with the genre a bit and try writing it almost like a shoujo rom-com, high school rom-com or slice of life scenario, and then bring it back to the martial arts later, bring it back to the fighting later. It's like with and I'll always have issues with Ken Akamatsu's writing, but Ken Akamatsu, when he did Negima, Negima was basically passed and billed as this rom-com that's supposed to be like, oh, it's going to be the next Love Hina, and it has this whole thing, and he basically stealth transformed it into this shonen fighting manga, so do something like that, play with the genre and find ways of making it interesting. And that's pretty much what I would do.
I agree with that. Ian Cassidy, what if Broly and Goku were twins sent to Earth? If they were sent to Earth, if they were the modern Broly, I feel like they'd be able to keep a level on stuff like that. And I feel like if Grandpa Gohan found them, I think he'd be able to get a good read. And there's a benevolent and very happy life. So I think Broly would be able to be quite stable, the modern Broly, be able to keep quite stable for a while. But I think it would still ultimately end in a lot of lost control. But I feel like it would be something that they could just about hold on to. But I feel like he'd have that more peril. And I still think Grandpa Gohan would succumb to the Uzaro transformation. Being squished. But I feel like Broly could just about hang in there with Goku being able to control him. Having that bond, that connection, that sibling connection might be able to get through to him. Red Dragon Force 2, on behalf of Manifesto. What if the Cold Ancestors were good and set up the Galactic Patrol before turning evil? Well, there's always the black sheep. Maybe they were quite benevolent. And perhaps, there was that mutation that became, King Cold's, maybe a couple of generations down. And it probably led to him turning evil and basically shunning the patrol. basically thinking it was ineffective. He was going to start his own empire, rule the galaxy. Could start like that. It's a good story, though. But I feel like it's plausible. Team Valor. What if Ten Shin Han was never trained by the Crane Master and had access to all the abilities of his third eye? Keep up the great arc and what ifs, you. 3. Oh, thanks, Team Valor. But basically, if Ten Shin Han trained himself, he basically had the third eye. He'd have incredible perception. He'd be able to actually probably be a very fast learner too. Being able to maximize the third eye to be able to read people more. Basically, great countering, great perception, maybe not so much in terms of strength, but you could easily use him. He'd be an effective assistant in terms of defense. So I think he could utilize him as a defensive character. Auto Johnny?
Real quick, did we have a super chat from Vulcan that was about Broly joining the Z Fighters early in the Hercule What If?
Yeah,
because
we did.
yeah, because
I remember it.
he has a correction with that, and I'm not entirely certain the what he means by it, but he meant Broly training with Goku, Hercule, and Krillin, and all 4 of them being like best friends.
Yeah,
so,
again, like Broly, that good boy Broly does have the propensity to have friends, so definitely plausible, I would say. But we mustn't get bogged down here. We've still got a lot to get through. But
yeah,
Vulcan, you are right in that sense. Yeah, they could easily become good friends if they had the right positive environment. Okay, Auto Johnny, what if the Z Fighters had Hamon and what if the Z Fighters had stands? Hamon, different type of life force energy. Definitely like to work with Hamon and Ki. And if they had stands, I would imagine probably. I think Goku would use it to kind of like the stand and him fighting at the same time. Like a tandem stand almost. Because if Goku weren't doing anything and exchanging punches with ghosts, it wouldn't really be the same. It wouldn't be right for him. But I can imagine like a tandem stand. That'd be cool. Jesse Goff. What if Goku and Piccolo fused to fight Super Buu instead of Goten and Trunks? Perhaps if Goten and Trunks didn't have time to train in the time chamber. Oh, it'd be great fan service, Goku and Piccolo fusing. You'd have this interesting ability, and I think it could be fairly strong, because, their powers aren't that different, and I still think a fusion with Goku and Piccolo, it could certainly be interesting. But I imagine there'd be some kind of flaw to make it not too broken. Sid Lopez, what if a crack alternative universe Agine went to Earth and Nappa turns good? The two end up together during a 7-year time skip. Imagine Raditz coming home again and Nappa is like, I'm your daddy now! Oh man.
No.
Boy.
Oh boy. I'm just gonna play the sound of like if it plays. Come on, play. There we go. I mean, if Gine is into tough, big, strong, bald men, then I'm not king shaming. I'm not into that. I'm not going to do that. Cinderbat, what if Ben 10 alien races were in Dragon Ball? I think you could have... It's a wide variety of them. And I think one of them could easily be used against Frieza. Using the memories of previous races that were felled by Frieza to bring him down. It has a nice poetic justice to it. Brendan Little, on behalf... this is for Sophie. Here's a name for the Krillin and Femjeet ship once it's done. Team 3-star After Dark.
Real quick, I'm gonna cut in here real quick. Give me just a sec. I gotta find the person's name. Mohammed Azat, you still have like 20 super chats in front of you before we get to yours. If you're not going to be patient, then just leave.
Okay, back to our normal.
We're going down the list.
Right. So
anyway,
what are your thoughts on that ship?
Well, that's the thing, is that the Krillin and Femjeet ship, I honestly think it's something that's gonna work out all right. I wasn't actually expecting people to make me do it. I had forgotten about it until just now, mostly just because I'm still kind of in my funk as far as writing stuff for the YouTube channel goes. It's hard with my living situation and some personal stuff going on in my life. But Team 3-star After Dark, I like it. I like it a lot. And I hope that y'all will look forward to the day that Krillin and Fimjeets get together in a what if.
Oh,
Yeah.
I look forward to that day. Alright, DT Raiden. What if the humans had infinite energy naturally? Like, that's what makes the humans special, so no infinite energy engine. That'd be cool. So basically, they have the ability to just keep going and going. Like, it means that their difference in power to Saiyans don't really matter too much. So eventually, it could make, like, Krillin and Vegeta's fight on Earth could actually be really interesting. Like, you know, you can get Krillin to do the classic, I can do this all day!
I mean, as cool as it sounds, I still think it's like, you need to balance it so it won't be too OP in that sense.
True. You'd need to have something to kind of level it, though.
To unlock it, essentially.
Dark Cloud Alpha, what if Roshi had actually learned Ultra Instinct? I'd have just quit. I'd have quit the series. I'd be like, no, I'm not. I can't do this. I can't do this. No.
I mean, not at this point, but in total, like, as Sophie once said, from all of the human characters, Roshi is the one that makes most sense to learn it. Being like, you know,
I mean, from a pure logistical standpoint, I mean, like, yeah, he's the one who's been alive the longest. He's the martial arts master. He's brilliant martial arts theorist. He has this whole like instinctual thing going on anyways. Heck, they kind of even did something that would even set it up in the bit in Dragon Ball Super with Yudin when she takes control of him using the using her magic. He's super powerful because he's going off of just the raw instinct, you know, whatever. But when it comes right down to it, it's not the best decision from a narrative perspective because Roshi isn't a character who's important anymore. Even in the old days, he was comedy, you know. Anyway,
yeah,
not to get bogged down.
No, but it's fair, basically. But yeah, okay. I was being a bit irrational there. That's fair. Kenshin491. What if Shin versus Garlic Jr. on Fake Namek? That would be an entirely pointless fight because that doesn't exist. Shin would win by default because Fake Namek and Garlic Jr. What are those things? Like, they don't exist. Shin would just win by default. It'd be the only thing he would win. Solfan Gaming. Oh, those two. I think we'd already gone there, so those are the ones he said to skip. Vandalia. What if Raditz, Nappa, and Vegeta went to Earth secretly with the scouters off not to alert Frieza to ask Goku to help stop Frieza? It would only have to be in the sense of, like, if Raditz's, like, things about Goku having potential were true, it would have to take a lot of convincing, because Goku's power level of 300, Vegeta would just laugh his head off. So, basically, they need to find a way to be able to, like, you know, just find some way of being able to kind of, like, realize his potential. They need to train a lot, and then realize that, oh, Goku could catch up really quickly. You can sort of get this idea of what we do with what if our Goku defeated Roshi. What if you get that sort of dynamic in a way? So that'll give you a good answer. Sinister, what if Piccolo could use Kaioken? With his healing ability, could he reach higher levels than Goku? Definitely. With the ability to regenerate, he could realize if he went too far, it's like, okay, that was too far. He could push himself, and if he needed to regenerate, he could easily find the limits much faster. So, absolutely Sinister. Dark Cloud Alpha again. What if Goku absorbed the Hakai Frieza used on him? He would then potentially turn into a God of Destruction Goku. I'm sure the fan artists would love that. We get a temporary shot of God Goku absorbing energy. Because he has the ability to absorb energy. So maybe, or like being able to handle it. So for a brief flash, we get like evil God Goku. I'm sure the Deviant artists would love it.
Real quick, I just want to interject here. Gobi says that in his previous super chat, you actually didn't broach the actual point of his super chat about Gohan acquiring obsessive drawbacks from the intuitive aptitude similar to Sylar from Heroes.
Yeah. Well, again, sorry, go on.
I can answer this one, and I'll make it quick. It would be a little bit tricky to do because it's not the same thing as acquiring power in the same way as heroes, so it's a little harder to do the whole obsessive aptitude drawbacks. More or less, I could see him becoming like the more powerful he gets, the more aggressively he pursues more power, making him maybe perhaps something more of a villainous character, making him like almost an extreme version of Goku in this fact that he's always seeking strength. But I don't think you could quite make him like similar to Sylar in the same way, because the powers don't differentiate enough in any way that's narratively feasible to accomplish that in Dragon Ball. Anyway.
Okay. I hope that answer helps, Gobi. Isaac, what if Chi-Chi was half Saiyan? Well, we ask this quite regularly. But basically, if Chi-Chi was half Saiyan, better understanding with Goku and his propensity to fight, Gohan's desire to become a scholar would be less intense. So I feel, therefore, it would actually mean that their family dynamic would be much more serene. So again, positive environment for Gohan to grow up in. Caustic Source, what if Raditz beat Goku and Piccolo and took Gohan off planet? New darkest timeline? I think you asked that earlier, but basically, in short, Goku and Piccolo go to King Kai's, Goku and Piccolo actually start to learn how to fight together and actually make a good tag team. And Gohan would be conditioned by Raditz to think that, oh, he is really strong, and actually have a good, like, disciple. And then maybe actually be able to prove to Vegeta that he is worth his while. So that's why he would do it. Self-preservation. Dylan the Runny Boy?
Real quick. I actually, because we have 2 super chats that were for correction of this one, because you skipped over the Nintendo Gamer one because he retracted it, I actually have that saved in my list as well as his edit, so we could do that right now. The one that he wanted to talk about was about Tapion, and give me just a sec. I just went and lost my place. How stupid of me. Anyways, he wanted to ask if we plan to bring Tapion into the what ifs at all, like if you intended to do any what ifs about Tapion for the channel or anything like that, because he's curious how he could affect the story, because he has great potential and is a more Chrono Trigger-esque character.
We could potentially do that in the April Fool what ifs, because the April Fool what ifs like definitely have a lot more flexibility in terms of adding stuff from the movies. Yeah, we've done that with Broly, and we can easily maybe do that in Ginyu. Or Hercule. So definitely, there's definitely scope for that. Dylan the Bunny Boy, just here, what if Yamcha dodged the Cyberman? He'd live for a little longer, and we would lose a very classic meme, unfortunately. But it would probably mean that Yamcha could actually beat the Cyberman. He could technically do that if he wasn't jumped. So, you know, if he had the chance to dodge, he'd have taken out 2 Cybermen. Good on Yamcha. Benjamin Jenkins, what if Grandpa Gohan was still alive? If he were still alive, he wouldn't really do much in Dragon Ball Z. He'd just be there as some sort of guidance figure for Goku. Probably just be there to kind of like, just add some guidance, some clarity. He'd be a bystander, essentially. Primal Mythos, what if Goku was raised by the Galactic Patrol? If Goku was raised by the Galactic Patrol, Jarko would be like the reluctant father figure who basically become endeared to Goku eventually. But I definitely feel like he'd be the reluctant guy. And then I feel like if he basically was charged with looking after Goku for a while. He becomes this guy who actually sort of likes Goku, but then it's getting taken away, like you're removed from that detail. And then basically he gets really sad. He misses Goku. I can imagine that being a wholesome story. And then Nintendo Gamers up the story saying, the rest of it is planned to...
that was the Tapion.
Okay, they're continuing. Oh, okay. League of Fox, what if Master Roshi never stopped training? Well, according to the Tournament of Power, apparently he never did stop, because Goku's going, I knew you didn't stop training. So actually
he's apparently been doing it in secret.
So Super sort of actually confirmed that was true. So League of Fox, you are correct. That actually is canon.
Actually canon.
Yep.
No, you're canon now.
Dark Cloud Alpha, what if Kid Goku was an android created by Dr. Bruce to be Bulma's friend and then used to fight the evil Dr. Gero and his evil Red Ribbon Army? So basically, almost the same thing of what if Goku raised a Capsule Corp, but actually was then genetically enhanced.
Wait. What if Kid Goku was an... You've basically turned Goku into Mega Man.
And
That's what this is. And Astro Boy. Well, and Astro Boy is what Mega Man was knocking off. So
well, there you go.
Goku has become a knockoff of Astro Boy.
Maybe with some more slapstick comedy thrown in for good measure. There you go. Dark Aria. What if Goku didn't survive the heart virus even after Trunks gave him the heart medicine? Could the timeline potentially still end up alright? Maybe because they had time to prepare? Because ultimately, it'd be a bit tricky. But they couldn't get Goku back unless they used the Namekian Dragon Balls. Because they don't have those whole died of natural causes limit. Or limitation. So I think it would mean that Goku would be totally out of commission. And training Gohan would be very tricky. And it'd be having Vegeta would have to be the one to train Gohan to become Super Saiyan. That would be interesting. That would be a very interesting thing that Vegeta would use to no end, saying, "You see, Kakarot, I was the one to teach your boy Super Saiyan. You should be grateful of my existence." And basically, he would lord that up over Goku for years to come. Paparacha, what if Mark got a rage boost, tried to Yamcha Spopovich, and Vegeta decided to forcibly train him? So basically, if this Mr. Satan basically tried to end Spopovich, and Vegeta actually took him under his wing. I imagine it'd be like a pet project. Like Vegeta's really bored and go like, "Oh, this should be a laugh." Go
Project Hercule. Yeah.
It'd be that. Kobayashi Brynhild, hey all, just wanted to say I love what you do. Anyways, my question is, what if Beerus lost his position as GOD? I think he wouldn't really care, because he really doesn't do the job much. The only thing he would probably miss is the whole idea of his status, but he's still really powerful. And, you know, people would still be scared of him, because he could still destroy things with power. I mean, he wouldn't be as strong, he wouldn't have Hakai. No, he would still have Hakai.
Question. Can GODs retire, or do they have to be destroyed, like killed?
We have no idea. Unfortunately.
Belmont wants to retire, so that gives us the idea that, yeah, they kinda can.
Yeah, actually, that's a good point. That's very true.
Okay, so yeah, so if they train a new GOD, because I mean, I know that there's this whole like intrinsic soul link between the GOD and the Supreme Kai of whatever universe. So in order to retire, do they have to train a new GOD first so that they can transfer that link to that person?
That's why they have disciples. Yeah. That's why they have trainers, like with Toppo. Sabaku? What if King Vegeta disposes of Paragus and takes in Broly in his own? This causing Broly to be with Vegeta and company during the planet's destruction.
We have
done that.
About that. Yeah.
We have already done that, and that was what if King Vegeta could see the future? So you can actually get that.
Yeah.
Paparazzi. Goku Black. You're a monster. Future Broly.
Broly is no monster. Broly is.
Goku Black. Whatever, it doesn't matter. What is a monster to a god?
What is a god to the devil?
Oh my. And present Broly. Oh my god, he's so goddamn cool!
But so dumb!
Red Dragon Force 2 on behalf of Manifesto. What if Good Boy Frost got a diamond form? Yeah, people want Diamond Frost. That'd be cool. Because Frieza, you forget to know that diamonds are forever.
Does that mean does Frost's empire become the Diamond Authority?
I like it. It's the puns. Shark Jumping Walrus. What if the events of Metal Gear Rising took place in the Dragon Ball universe between the original Dragon Ball and Dragon Ball Z? You'd have full of Revengeance, Cyborg Ninjas, which makes sense. Cyborg Ninja Murasaki.
Nanomachines.
Yes. And as I said, Cyborg Ninja Murasaki. And Mercenary Cyborg Tao. Forget Raiden, you could have Ninja Murasaki.
Oh my gosh, guys. Nanomachines.
Nanomachines. Oh, great.
Nanomachines. Oh, go into the corner. Go into the corner right now.
Paparazzi asked on behalf of Mohammed, what if Goku was the Omni King? I'm playing the sound. There would be tournaments, non-stop tournaments.
Yeah.
Non-stop tournaments. Goku would get extremely bored. Other than that, when there wasn't a tournament, he'd be wishing for more tournaments. He wouldn't like the job. It's you stay in one place so many times. It's like with people asking, oh, if he became Kami's replacement, he would hate it. It was something. It's not his style.
Yeah, if Goku was the Omni King, he would be even more bored than the current Omni King is, and the current Omni King is basically a child.
Yes.
First off, Goku doesn't want omniscience or omnipotence or anything like that. He wants to feel like he's earned the power.
Yes.
But he also wants that power to actually be useful for something. He wants to be able to fight strong guys. If he's the Omni King, then there's never going to be a strong enough guy for him to fight. He'd be miserable.
There you go. So that's your answer there. Joey V, what if Piccolo and Vegeta trained together and with Gohan between Cell and Buu? I feel like, secretly also from Chi-Chi, I feel like Piccolo and Vegeta actually train Gohan. Vegeta will probably be a lot more motivated, and his pride will probably be a lot more measured and calm, because he's actually getting a challenge, and with Gohan getting stronger, he would then get stronger himself, so it'd be beneficial, a win-win. So the idea of losing Kakarot would actually not sting so much. It'd be a good leveler for him, certainly. More of a team player. Jerry Sandoval, what if you guys were pulled into the world of DBZ? I think we've answered this question many times before.
Ooh,
I would game the system as much as we could, and I know, Sophie, that would be your answer too.
I would definitely want to game the system as much as possible. I would definitely want to train with the other martial artists and the other Z fighters to get some more fighting. I would be trying to apply the theories that we have towards a lot of stuff like techniques and transformations and stuff like that to the universe to see whether or not we could do something. Like, believe you me, I'd be like, okay, I want to learn Kaioken, I want to learn full power, I want to see if I can make the Kaiohenshin, because if I'm not gonna get to be a Saiyan, then I have to find a way to make humans worthwhile. And if I mean, shoot, I think it would be fun, but at the same time, you also have to say, like, well, would you really get all that much of a satisfying ordinary life if you were constantly under threat from otherworldly beings? But personally, I think I'd have fun.
Oh, hey, Cell, you come to drink me. Yeah, it's here. What do you mean? Oh, yeah, like, this is the year that you... But, like, we'll get revived. What do you mean with... Oh, sorry, spoilers. Hey, what does it matter? Why aren't you scared? Oh, go on, drink me. Come on. Yeah, it's going to be over. Don't worry. Don't worry about it.
I would date Yamcha. That's what I'd do.
Oh, that's...
Also, I would try to get to Kami and ask, what's the deal with you guys? What's exactly your position? What do you do? What do you do?
Alright, Owen McPherson, what if BoJack was canon and how could you do it? We have a discussion for that. What if we fix BoJack? So if you go through our thing, you will get your answer, Owen. League of Fox, what if Cooler went to Namek instead? Well, first of all, he would get the Dragon Balls, but he would spare the Namekians and realize their usefulness, and basically farm the Dragon Balls out and say, I will make sure that you are safe if you are entitled to make sure that the Dragon Balls are only used for me. There you go. Steady supply of Dragon Balls, and he would ice out the Dragon team, so they couldn't rely on them. He more of a businessman. Jordan-san, what if Chi-Chi trained with Goku prior to DBZ? I feel like if they basically were there and with a baby and they were training and Ox King was there to help look after Gohan, I think Chi-Chi would have a better understanding of Goku as a person and as a fighter. She would also get stronger too. So I feel like in the early days, like in the Dead Zone, she could actually be a decent contribution to help. And even in World's Strongest, I think for the first 3 movies, she could definitely be useful. But then when they go off to Namek, that's obviously when you have that disconnect. But she's still there being useful and being able to assist. So I think better understanding in that regard. Vulcan, what if Hercule was a Saiyan, but his father is Borgos or an OC? So basically, if Hercule was a Saiyan, basically...
Ooh, boy. If Hercule was a Saiyan, well, it kind of depends, because you still have a bit of a an issue with his mentality, right? Because if you're going to still keep him Hercule, he has to have the same mindset. And if he was a Saiyan, like, okay, so is he a Saiyan that's growing up on Earth for the same reason as Goku did? And how does that affect how he approaches battle? So he would probably still wind up training at Satan Dojo. He would probably still wind up having an aversion to fighting if he witnesses the whole ki thing, but he would have a more natural inclination toward increased strength. So he'd probably be more effective, but no more so than any of like the human Z fighters, in my opinion. You know, he wouldn't be an utter laughing stock, but he'd probably be in the same tier as like Yamcha and Tien.
I would say. And then his other one was, what if Gohan had twin sister with Impact of the Saiyan Saga? I think you've answered this quite a few times, Vulcan. But basically, if Gohan had a twin sister, probably would have the same Rage Boost connection, but have that bond, it's that twin bond connection, being able to be the one to actually get through to Gohan the most, and vice versa. Like, one of them is always good in the crisis and the other isn't. So you'd always have that kind of bond connection, which is done quite a lot in Dragon Ball, actually. It'd actually be really good. Papa Archer, who would win in a death battle, Chi-Chi or Lois Lane? Chi-Chi.
Chi-Chi.
Chi-Chi, hands down, definitely. Stephen LaRock, what if Goten and Trunks did the same training as Goku before Boo? They probably would get like a Super Saiyan 3 in Metamoran. Like, I feel like they could at least as kids get Super Saiyan 2. At least. And
yeah.
And they would have Super Saiyan 2 Gotenks, which would be able to last a lot longer and be more effective and maybe be less obnoxious. So definitely something much more useful, I would say. A win-win for everybody. Vulcan then has, what if Chi-Chi was a fighter with Impact of the Saiyan Saga and Namek Saga? If Chi-Chi, again, it's sort of like what I said just now, with if Chi-Chi was training with Goku, like, she'd be able to at least help out with the Z-Fighters, fighting in revenge of her fallen husband. Not being able to, like, necessarily do much directly, but at least be able to help. And I feel like with the Namek Saga, she'd go there to keep an eye on Gohan. But she'd almost be there for moral support, and also actually getting to see her husband go Super Saiyan, or at least feel it. So that would be almost that poignant moment. Just seeing that moment and amazement of her husband, of her man. That'd be really, really lovely. Papa Archer, what if Gohan's middle name was Meat? Son Gohan, so rice and meat. He'd be a perfect, healthy Japanese meal. This is 100% because I just found out Shira's Katra's full name is Katra Applesauce Meow Meow.
Oh my gosh.
Well, to be honest, there is a planet meat, so I don't see why not we have meat and rice. And Gohan as an adult is fully balanced. A fully balanced
Gohan Gohan Niku's son.
That would actually be a flowing name. Okay. Vulcan then asks, next part of Goku, Bulma, Hercule, and Boxer. Goku, Bulma, maybe early September. Hercule, around about the same time. Boxer is coming out on the 4th of August, just so you know. Irving, what if Broly landed on Yardrat? We sort of touched this on what if Broly was in the Android Saga, but I feel they'd be able to find some way of actually being able to calm down his mind. Being able to, like...
Oh, yeah.
Sort out his riddled energy. Liam
if there's any group of people that could manage to calm the raging spirit that is Broly, it's the Yardratians.
Yeah, as we have proof. Liam Hogan, what if King Cold was wished back along with Frieza? Well, you sort of get that in our What If Nappa Turned Good series, and King Cold would be able to definitely, game the system in that regard. And then Irving Vasquez again. Hey Masako, what if Goku's farming was exclusively a modified Tree of Might that helped Bulma create? Seeing that Korin creates the senzu beans to heal and Bulma creates more power boosts. So basically, Goku's farming, eventually he gets the technology or the ability to create a tree which is like the Tree of Might. I imagine
so instead of senzu beans that give you recovery, you have like berries or something, like a modified. Since it's a modified, you've got berries that give you a small permanent power boost.
Yeah, so it's
like you just add them into your breakfast every day, so that you're always gaining more power.
Exactly. There you go. So it's like it's on his off days. When he's skipping a day, you can just have some berries. There you go.
Power cereal.
I mean, it couldn't give you too big of a boost, because obviously part of the reason the Tree of Might's able to accomplish that is because, you know, it saps all life force from the planet. So if you were creating, like, say, a berry bush of might, right, and it was only taking enough life force that it was still sustainable for the planet, then each berry would be a very small boost.
Knowing you guys in America, you would turn this into cereal.
Oh, of course.
Yes, absolutely.
ZachVet92. Would you have Frieza sing You'll Be Back from Hamilton? Well, he did sing Just Give Up, so of course. But I think we're just going to keep it to that one, because if we did more and more of that, I feel like it could get a bit excessive. Jeff Caldwell. What if a Bridge Popo met 4Kids Blue Popo? We actually did that for an anime convention promo.
You will be assimilated.
Yes, you would get that. There you go. So we did do that. Smurf, yeah? What if Raditz arrived after the Android saga, swapping the arcs? If the powers weren't scaled, Raditz would do everything he can to survive and realize, oh, the powers are really excessive here. He'd either nope right out of there, or he would then actually just go like, yeah, I'm just gonna join them. But if the powers weren't swapped, I imagine, like, he'd be about to finish off Goku, but then the androids come in, about to, like, take the win from him, take his, like, it'd be like, only I get to destroy Kakarot, my brother. You androids are getting in the way. And then eventually this reluctant guy who fights on their side eventually. So, like, resourcefulness in that way. Yash Beguri, thank you very much for your super chat, by the way, with the smiley face. Zenos Trigger, love DBZA, keep up the great work, guys. Thank you very much, Zeno, that's really appreciated. Ramai Fighter, thank you for your super chat. And lastly, Aiden, what if the Sensu slowly healed Goku's head wound? Well, there is that little theory that in Super, the fact that he goes, like, Goku is sort of going, I'm evil, huh? Like, eventually it sort of actually slowly heals his mind. So maybe it's like a slow burner. So
I wish, man, because if you're going to build up to anything with Goku acting like as much of a prat as he's been during all of Dragon Ball Super, at least give it a good logical reason.
Right.
Have him getting more evil or aggressive or whatever.
Yeah. No, I would like to see that, definitely. And alright, with that, we are done for today. Once again, thank you all so much for your contributions. It really does help support the channel. We've had some really good what-ifs today. And thank you, Sophie and Hav, for all of your hard work. And thank you all out there.
Thank you.
I hope you're all staying safe, and I hope you've had a chance to look at the store today to check out the face masks that we've now got in the store. We've got a cute little R&R Ranch logo face mask pattern, as well as a more subdued one, as well as the Masako logo, and we will probably be doing more designs in the future. Yeah. Hope you're all having a good rest of your night, and we shall see you again on Thursday for the next round table. And the next What If will be What If Krillin Was a Saiyan Part 6 coming out on Tuesday. So, until then, guys, I hope you're doing all really well, and take care, everyone. Good night!
See ya.
Good night!